attachments here. Sorry, I just have to authenticate. No. So before we actually get into the Module 5 content, I want to review and introduce you guys to the final project. We won't actually do any coding or anything for the final project for a couple weeks, but there's something that I will actually bring up and assign right now in regards to the project. So you'll actually see right here that there's 4 different drop boxes for submission for the final project. That's because it's staged into 4 pieces, 4 phases. If we go into the instructions here, we'll get a better idea of what this is. So this is your capstone project. So basically the whole concept here is for you to kind of demonstrate and pull together everything that have covered and well covered in this final module as your kind of demonstration that you've got an idea of what it is we're trying to do. You're going to follow the pattern, the tools, all the tech that we've used to build your own backend application. So you're going to put everything together from modules 1 through 5 into your own backend of your own design. So it's going to be like, what are you going to build an API for? That's kind of up to you to decide what you want to build one for, but you're going to build one and you'll apply the patterns and practices that we use throughout the course to do that. So what are the requirements around this project? Well, the technologies we covered, right? So you're going to want to use these core techs that we have used in this course. Some of them we will be using as part of this final module, which I'll talk about later in this class. You're actually also going to research and add some backend component we haven't covered yet. So this addition should be some practical value to your project, but be manageable. It doesn't need to be some sort of major thing you add. Just something a little different, something to show that, okay, I'm going to look into this and I'm just going to try and apply it. The way you're graded on that component, at least, is not going to be like, did you implement it perfectly or anything like that? It's more of a learning experience more than anything else, just trying to see how could I incorporate something into an existing kind of pattern I know. You follow the same sort of CRUD operations we've done, the same validation and error handling, authentication, authorization, documentation, just best practices and whatnot. Now, you'll use GitHub issues for tracking your project and just setting up a project board as well. There's some like continuous requirements. So we'll want to, and what we mean by continuous requirements is they'll kind of be just like requirements we would see through each milestone from here. So we want to try and get test coverage built into our application. So we'll be writing tests. We'll have some documentation for our code. I guess I should have really said TS docs instead of JS docs, just a mental lapse there. And anytime there's like something really complex or something where you feel you need to add it in. So basically the same patterns we've just been following throughout the course. Book quality standards, just making sure, again, all the same standards we've been following throughout. GitHub project management. So you'll have like some tickets you'll make for yourself for different things you'll be doing. And so like you'll make a ticket for implementing some sort of functionality. And so the code associated to that should only really be like the code that you commit as part of this should only really be related to that particular ticket. If it has things that are unrelated, it really shouldn't be there. And then we'll just follow the same sort of structure we've been doing throughout the entire course. So far, that kind of making sense. Nothing too wild there. Just basically all that ramp up is just saying, hey, just make sure you follow the structures and patterns that we've followed so far in this class. That's all. So the milestones, what are these? The one that we really only care about right now is this pre-milestone. And it's just project planning and proposal. So you'll create a proposal document. And I actually didn't really provide a template for this. I'm just kind of curious what we get here. And the proposal document doesn't need to be anything super thorough. I'll just clarify this right now. I'm not looking for like multiple pages of a submission or something. Really what I want is what's the concept of your project? So like describe the purpose and theme of your API, right? So I don't know, maybe like I don't know, maybe you want to do it on Pokemon or something. I don't know why I even said Pokemon because I don't really know anything about it, but a student just asked me about another project. So I maybe you want to do some sort of Pokemon project. So that's what you can do. What I was thinking. Beautiful. You could do that. No worries, Jimmy. Yeah. So basically, that's just what you would just be like, okay, I'm going to do it based on that. And then like the purpose, like, why are you doing it on that? Like, is there something particularly you want to do with it? And that would be it. So your theme would be like Pokemon and then how you want to use it against that. That's just, and why you chose it is just basically like, that's just something you're into. And that can be as simple as that, right? I just want to know generally, what should I be expecting for what you're making here? Uh, Scope and functionality. So really, I just want like a really basic outline of like, what do you think you'll need for endpoints, right? Like, if you're going to do one based off of whatever the topic is, just kind of a general idea of what you think you'll be making endpoints for. So I think I'll be tracking data about this sort of stuff, and therefore I'm going to have like some of these general endpoints. You don't need to give like a very thorough outline of specifics at this stage. This is just high level, just to try and get like a plan forming in your head, really, for generally what is it you'll be building and like data needs. So like, what kind of data do I think I'll need around this? You may not have everything at this stage, right? Like it's okay if you can't think of everything you'll need, but generally, what you'll need. So, and just how this will align for like the course content, right? So, what you'll be building, and how it will kind of fit into what we've done so far. And just make a note here, highlight any extras outside of the course scope. So for example, if you're already thinking about like, where did I put that piece? The new component, right? Like if you're already trying to think about that, maybe, and it's something you're like, oh, this is something I've been thinking about for a bit and something I want to try and include in this API or whatever, but Dave didn't cover it. Just highlight that in this document, just so I'm aware of it. And like, if I think it's something that's outrageous, then I might say, hey, maybe don't do that. That's too much at this stage or something like that. But otherwise, I'll just be like, okay, good. Just so I know in advance that what's coming my way, and I can be prepared to kind of handle that. Just that's really all I'm asking here is if you plan on deviating, I don't want to punish anybody for deviating, and I don't want to like deter if there's something interesting you want to do. But at the same time, I just want to make sure that I'm aware of it and it's like not too crazy. So this document can really be like maybe a page, 2 pages if you feel you need the space to like kind of outline a structure or something like that. But in reality, it doesn't need to be too much. It can be like if you want to do it in just like a Word document or something like that, where you just have, all you could do is you could just take, here's my concept, right? This is what I plan on building. Here's kind of the general scope of what my endpoints and data could look like. This is what I'm thinking about, at least. This is what I've brainstormed. And how this is going to align with like the course content and whatnot. So that's one thing. And that can really be just like a page or something like that. Nothing crazy. And the other part is I would like to see a basic like GitHub project board that you'll set up as well. Very basic. It doesn't need to be anything like super detailed. And so by like a project board, it'd be like, so let's say I'm going into, I don't know, let's do organizations here. And I'm in backend or something. I go into like Delphi or something. Maybe I would create a new project here. So you would just go through the steps of, you could even use a template if you wanted to choose a pre-existing one or something like that. But I would just do like a new project. And so you can just do different formats. So maybe I just want to do like a basic board like this. And I don't even name this. And then like you just put in within this project board, instructions, right? Just like really basic high level tasks that you might want. So you could put in some tasks in here of some basic things you wanted to do. You just add an item here and it'd be like, I don't know, set up DB or something like that. I don't know. And you could then associate, okay, what repository am I putting this in? I can add more details here. I don't know, fill in details. I don't really have any great examples right now. And then boom, we can say I have a project. It's associated to a particular like a repo, and here's like a task. And again, this beginning stages, like I'm not looking for you to have like a detailed, thorough, how am I going to, implement all these different things within here. It's just like high level, how you would break down this project into some smaller steps. Just so I have, again, like a general idea of your plan. And you can even like, yeah, generally that's what I'm looking for. It's just like a basic plan around how you'll kind of structure your goals, like for what I'm going to complete versus off of what stages. So just like a single page document with a rough outline of what the proposal is and what it'll do. And then just like a basic plan of roughly how I'll complete my tasks. For the most part, this whole pre-module or pre-milestone stuff is just so that when we start work on it, we're ready to start doing some coding and project setup once the project starts, and we don't have to be spending time doing these other planning things. And plus, this gives me an idea of if you're planning something really big, maybe I can like hone you in or pull you back a little bit and be like, whoa, that's a lot to get done. Maybe hold off on that for a bit because it's a lot to do or something along those lines. So all I'll ask for is the proposal document and a rough setup project structure. And all that will be graded off of is like the concept, making sure it's in scope. It aligns with like kind of all the content we have, and that you just have like a basic project setup. That sound okay? And it wouldn't be due for a couple of weeks from now. So you would have a couple of weeks to think through this and submit it. I'll put a Dropbox in, and this will kind of coincide with the Module 5 stuff. So kind of as you're working through it. I mean, heck, you could even honestly make use of different like AI tools to help you kind of start planning that out or whatever. You can be like, hey, whatever one you're using, ChatGPT or something like that. I have a project I'm kind of thinking about doing it on these themes, and these are the things I kind of wanted to do. What do you think I would need for some like basic CRUD endpoints or something like that? And you can have it make some suggestions for you. And then I would probably look over that and be like, if I were you, I'd be looking at it and be like, okay, I think this would definitely be stuff I would need, maybe not this stuff. And so you can kind of make use of it, help with some brainstorming and whatnot, if that makes sense. And then you could also do like, heck, even if you like passed it the other rubrics, right? Like you could even pass it the rubrics and stuff and be like, hey, can you, give me some rough outlines of some different project board items I could add. And then I would use that as like a building block to like start adding in some of the basic rough outlining of how I want to plan the project. Those are really helpful ways you could use AI. It's not going to be great necessarily at like if you just send it one message or like a rough message of the thing here, and I don't know how well it could plan your whole project for you. but it could definitely be helpful for roughing it out and getting into place, and kind of then you have to tweak it a little bit, make it work for what you're wanting to do. But it could save you a lot.